Hello! Nice to see you all again. I am here to let you know how my January goals went, tell you what I'm doing in the month of February. So, my goals for the month of January were every day I wanted to spend 30 minutes reading in Spanish and 10 minutes doing quizzes over the new words I learned. I was going to spend 15 minutes reviewing things I had already learned in Chinese just to refresh myself. I was going to try and use Arabic Pod 101 for learning Arabic, and then I was going to do Portuguese using Drops on my phone, the Drops program, the Drops app, and then whatever else I found for 15 minutes. So let's talk about each of these. So I decided to try reading in Spanish for 30 minutes a day. I definitely benefited a lot from that goal, and I will definitely be continuing that in February. My reading is still really low, and I think the reason is that my vocabulary in Spanish is low. I had to look up a lot of words as I was reading, and I'll show you the main book I read. So the book I chose was Dinosaurs, Dinosaurios al Atardecer. It is part of the Magic Treehouse series that American children frequently read. It doesn't say here what the reading level is, but I think this is probably for about 8-year-olds. It was very, very, very difficult. For each chapter, I had between 25 and 40 new words, and the chapters are short. For example, chapter 4 is 5 pages. So this book was probably harder than I should have tried. But I finished the book, and I did learn a lot. I'm going to get book 2 in this series and try it out. Initially, I had started using YouTubes where they're reading a story to children. I had started to do that, and I learned from that too. But I really liked this series, Magic Treehouse series. So I think I'm going to stick with that for now. But the problem I did run into is weekends. On weekdays, every day I got my, almost every day, I got my reading done. Even though I still had COVID and I was really sick and I didn't feel well most days, I got it done. But the weekends, I don't think I got the reading done a single day. So for February, I'm keeping this goal, but I'm making it a little more broad so that on weekends I can watch TV in Spanish or do other things in Spanish instead of just reading. So my goal will be written as 30 minutes of Spanish input every day. I liked using the flashcards from Quizlet. That's what I did to learn the new words. I'm going to keep that for now. I hope that when I go to book 2, a lot of the words that I learned will be reused, so I won't be needing to memorize quite so many. A lot of the words that I learned were basic actions like kneel down, get on the ground, hide, run. No, I already knew run, but words like that that will probably be used in a lot of their books. So I think that'll be good. So for Chinese, I was going to review what I had already learned. And I did, and I didn't love that process. What I found that I liked was I used Duolingo. I know, Duolingo was terrible. I know. But for characters, it is really good. So I use that to review the characters, and in the process, I also reviewed a lot of the basics from Chinese that I needed. So that was good. For this month, my goal for Chinese will still be 15 minutes. I'm going to experiment with different apps in YouTube to figure out what works for me. There's an app that I had called Super Chinese, I believe is the name of it. I'm looking as I talk to you. And I think I'll definitely be using that again, but it's not, I don't want to exclusively use it. Yeah, it's called Super Chinese. So I've got some other apps that I'm going to try out. I'll continue to use Duolingo to practice my characters so that my reading isn't horrifically behind my speaking and my listening and my other skills. Arabic. So I tried to use Arabic Pod 101 for Arabic. I am not a fan. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. The setup for it should be really good. But in operation, I had trouble with it. It looks like it should be really easy to add words to a word bank, to review them, to make it so that you could use little flashcards. But when I tried to actually use the flashcards, it didn't work well. You do learn a lot about the culture and the reasons why things are the way they are in Arabic. But I didn't like it. I won't be using it again for now. Instead, I've downloaded different apps for Arabic. The ones that I tried in the last month, I tried Mondly Languages. I also don't love it. And the reason why is because you have to do the lessons in an order. And one step is what's called the chat box. And the chat box, the idea is phenomenal. You are given a script. For example, you're meeting somebody. You can choose if you want to say Salam Alaikum or if you want to say Marhaban. And you have to pronounce it and speak it into the app. And the app has to approve it. The problem is, some of the time the sentences are long, and you don't know where your mistake is, and you spend a lot of time trying to pronounce the word unsuccessfully. So I'm stuck, and I can't get past a certain point, and I will not be continuing it. They do have daily lessons. I think if you started a daily lesson at the beginning of the month, it might be okay. I started in the middle, and so it was pretty advanced by then. I did a lot of guessing. I learned a lot about kind of how Arabic sentences, longer Arabic sentences work. But I didn't love that one either. I did use Duolingo to refresh my memory of the alphabet in Arabic. That was really good. And I've got a new app called Alif B, like B, bzz, B. And I've been using that also to work on my alphabet. That was really, really great for me. I have some new apps that I'm going to try. For Portuguese, I tried Drops and Duolingo. Don't love Duolingo for languages that have a Roman alphabet, the ABCs like we know in English. But I do absolutely love Drops. So what I ended up doing was working on Drops every day. It's easy. It's kind of fun. It reviews the words consistently over your lifetime. So the words that you learned on day 1 may or may not be reviewed as part of your work on day 20, so that everything stays fresh and you don't forget it. I really like that. I also reviewed YouTubes about the things I learned on drops while I was cooking dinner. So between those, I got my 15 minutes in every day, and I really feel like this is the easiest it's ever been for me to learn a language. It may be partly because Portuguese has a lot of similarities with Spanish, in French, which I studied in high school, but I really just think Drops is a good program, and that's been fabulous. So my goals for next month. Like I said, I'm going to try to do 30 minutes of Spanish input a day, regardless of how that input looks. If that input is listening to music while I cook dinner, if the input is watching a TV show. I tried, since my book was all about dinosaurs that I read, I watched Dino Dana, which is a kids show about a girl who loves dinosaurs, and I watched it in Spanish. And I definitely feel like I understand it better because I read the book about dinosaurs. I'm still going to do attempt 10 minutes of flashcards in Spanish every day. My routine is usually, I try to randomly review the flashcards throughout my day. So I make the flashcards at night when I read my chapter. I review the flashcards here and there throughout the day, and then right before I reread that chapter. So for example, on Monday, I would read chapter 1, put the new vocabulary in Quizlet, review it maybe at breakfast, at lunch, in the afternoon, in the evening, and then I would review the vocabulary, read chapter 1 again, read chapter 2, put the vocabulary in Quizlet. It's a routine. I like routines. They're very beneficial for me when I'm learning. For Portuguese, what I did worked really well. I'm going to continue using Drops and YouTubes, maybe some Duolingo here and there or other apps, but primarily Drops and YouTube. That worked for me. For Arabic, I'm going to try out new apps until I find something I really like, and then make a routine, but my goal is 15 minutes a day. For Chinese, I'm going to use something. I have a series of books that I could use for Chinese, or I have Super Chinese, or I can look for different apps. My goal is just 15 minutes a day until I find something that I like. So I'm curious, what are your language goals for February? I'd love to hear about them in the comments. And good luck to you this month.